Good morning, guys. It is May 26th, 2022. On this video here, I want to talk about a few options that I think are going to be helpful. Now, this is one thing that I want to say. I had a lot of people saying, well, you just don't really understand the, the design of vacuums and stuff. Now, one thing I will say, I'm okay with a design in some ways, but here's my biggest problem. If I can't get parts for it, if I can't get into it easily, it's not even a consideration for me. I mean, it's just not, flat out. And I realize that I may be contradicting myself a little bit, and I apologize for that. But the one issue that I had with Shark is the fact that they don't supply brush rolls. They don't supply very much of anything. And not to mention it's very hard to get out, and that is a big thing that is a major wear item, because I don't care how careful you are with your machine, I don't care what you do, brush rolls will eventually wear out. And if you can't get in there and you can't replace it, then that's kind of a dumb design, in my opinion. Now, if they would make brush rolls available, and if they would allow them not to clog up as easily, I would absolutely go with Shark, because I think Shark is wonderful feature-wise and build quality-wise, because it feels pretty good, but I don't like the filter setup. I don't like how much gets past the filter into the motor, because you're just asking for motor failure with that kind of design. And I also don't like the type of motors that they put in them, because they run really hot, and they just, I don't think they would last that long under normal use. And there are mini vacuums that just won't hold up to normal use. I think if you get like a cheap Bissell Power Force Helix bagless or something like that, and I'm talking about like the brand new one today, I don't think that's going to survive a demanding environment. It's just not. So, Hoover. Now, Hoover is not the only brand I would recommend as far as budget machines. I think some of the Bissells are good, and I'll be honest with you, there are a few Hoovers that I think are going to be just crappy, you know. Now, this other thing I want to talk about is stick vacs. Stick vacs are good for in between cleanings, but they're not going to do your whole house. And it's just not happening. And I mean, I think of stick vacs as like for around your kitchen and dining room table. That's pretty much it. You know, doing high traffic areas where there's a large amount of dry soil, it's just not going to happen. You know, it's not going to remove nearly as much. And that's if you have wall-to-wall carpeting. Now, even if you don't have wall-to-wall carpeting, if you have a large home, it's going to be not as efficient. And it all depends on the option, you know, what type of flooring you have, what kind of jobs you have doing, because vacuums are not a one-size-fits-all. I'm going to say that right now. You know, I think some people have misunderstood me and thought, like, that, you know, I only push one type or one brand. No. You know, I have my favorites. I have the ones that I truly believe will last a very long time. And for me, I believe that vacuum cleaners should be a long-term investment. You know, I don't think it's any different than your washing machine or your dryer or your refrigerator or anything else like that. You know, would you buy a refrigerator or a washer or dryer knowing that it's only going to last you 2 or 3 years and throw it away? Most people would say no, that would be ridiculous. Well, it's the same thing with a vacuum cleaner. I do not see a point in owning a vacuum cleaner that's just going to be a disposable appliance. It should never be a disposable appliance. Appliances, period, should never be disposable. You know. Now, here's a couple options that I think are decent. Now, this is one thing that I'm going to say. There are some that are good, and there are some that are crap. I'm just going to be honest with you because, you know, I like the idea of keeping it simple, of keeping it as uncomplicated as possible. And that's not just for use, that's for maintenance. Because I think a lot of people think about just the use and stuff, and they don't think about maintenance, they don't think about repairs, you know. So, yeah, this one here, I think is decent. Do I absolutely recommend this? No. I think there are better options for you. I think it's pretty solid. Now, one thing that I will say with Hoover and TTI just as a whole, it's they tend to be more supportive with their customers. And that's the whole thing, is customer service. I mean, if customer service is gonna be a pain in the butt, why would you want to deal with them? Why would you want to give them your business? I mean, maybe you had a good experience with a certain company and stuff, and that is fine. I understand that. But if it's gonna be a pain in the butt to deal with, to repair, and everything, then it's just not ideal. So let's see here. This one is 179. Oops, $179 here. I believe you can get to the brush roll. Let's see, customer images. Of course, the average consumer doesn't pay attention to that, but honestly, your brush roll is absolutely vital. Without a brush roll, you're never going to get carpets clean. It's just not going to happen. And you will dramatically reduce the life of your carpet if you do not use a vacuum with the rotating brush. And if the rotating brush is not in contact with the floor. So here's one here. I think Hoover is a decent brand. Like I said, I'm not anti-modern machines. I'm not anti-this. I'm just anti-complication. That's my biggest thing. You know, if it's gonna be complicated, if it's gonna be hard to get into, if it's gonna be hard to get parts for, then I don't buy it. It's as simple as that. I just don't buy it. You know, honestly, if I had to buy a big box store machine and I had to buy a bagless, I would buy this. I really would. I think the system is a little bit better designed. Do I still recommend bagged machines? Absolutely. I think long term, a bagged machine is going to just outlive a bagless. But you can make a bagless machine last. You really can. It all just depends on how it's set up. Shark has really kind of done a poor job of making sure as much dust stays out of the motor, because I mean, that filter clogs up within a month on the Shark, in my experience. This is another one. This one is decent. As far as brush roll access, let me see. Here. This one is very similar to the Shark in design, but in my opinion, at least the way the filter is set up is, I think it's going to do quite a bit better. That's just the way I see it. I've never owned any of these, but I can just tell. Of course, some people complain about breaking plastic, but that's typical. Now, if plastic's just gonna be crap and it's gonna break, yeah, I'm really gonna be upset about that. You know, I think, it needs to be able to withstand use. I'm not saying, people should abuse their machines, but people use them. They really do. Um, you know, People really use their machines and use them hard. Um, Now this air steerable, these are outstanding, in my opinion. Now for a large home, I don't think these are great. I think these are best suited for apartments and things like that. Just the capacity is small, and yeah, it's just a smaller machine. As far as brush roll access, I don't know, but I would assume you should be able to get to them. And I'm not against these new, geared belts and stuff at all. I think those are great. But my biggest problem is when you can't get a brush roll, when you can't replace a brush roll when it wears out, that is a big problem. That's a big problem. Because brush rolls wear out eventually. Sometimes they wear out faster than others. It depends on your household, it depends on your environment, it depends on how much you use it. It varies. But the average life of a brush roll is about 10 to 15 years. Depending upon the quality of the brush roll. Now, if the brush roll is just crap, then it's probably going to melt and seize and be problematic. Now, this one here, I think is great. Is it cheaper made than the older ones? Yeah, definitely, and I think so. But it's a bagged unit. You can get the brush roll out. You can change the brush roll. You can change the belt. It's very simple, And this wind tunnel high performance pet, absolutely outstanding. It is heavy, it is large, but if you have a lot of carpet and you have to go bagless and you have a large home, this is probably the best option you're going to get as far as Hoovers and performance. The brush roll is completely round. It's not twisted and fluted, so hair is not going to wrap around quite as easily. You can get the brush roll out. You can replace the brush roll. It is a wooden brush roll. Very, 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 very well designed, in my opinion. And then again, the filter setup is pretty good. If you have a demanding household and only have $179 right now, well, go ahead. This is something that I believe is going to be good. 5-year warranty. You get a 40-foot cord. That is insane on a household machine. A 40-foot cord is unheard of with residential vacuums. So if you have a large home, this is definitely a good option. So, Yeah, maybe I'm just spoiled, but tend to I tend to want cords that are anywhere from 30 to 50 feet in length, regardless of what machine it is, because, I just need some flexibility. And for sure, in a commercial environment, you're going to need that. Now, this one is like that Hoover T series, but it is, again, you can get the brush roll out. It's bagged. You can change the bag. I think it's going to last you a while if you take care of it. So, I'm not totally against these things now. These high performance and elite rewind and wind tunnel whole house, just basically the same machine, just you get a little bit more with the whole house elite. I think these are decent. I think you're gonna get decent performance and decent parts availability. You can replace the brush roll once again. My biggest thing is brush rolls, brush rolls, brush rolls. Not only for replacement, but just to be able to clean the hair off. Seriously, if you have a house with a lot of long hair, you must be able to get that brush roll cleaned out. And, some of the designs on some of the sharks are they just don't allow you to do that, and it really should not be that hard. Again, this is another one I recommended this one for years. The Hoover wind tunnels, yes. Now, I think this one, you're honestly better just passing on this one and moving up to something like this, because it's going to give you an extra tool. It's a little bit nicer, and you can even move up to this or this. So this one, I think you can get into the brush roll and fix it. I have seen some of those. But yeah, and it does have the geared belt system, which, again, I'm not against the geared belt. I really am not. I think it is a great design for the most part. I don't think stretch belts should be phased out completely, especially on direct air machines. If you're one of those people that say, well, you just need to get rid of, stretch belts and direct air machines entirely, that's really not something that I believe that we should do. Now, on these clean air machines, yes, I think that the geared belt systems are probably going to be quite a bit better. But again, as long as you can get the brush roll out and you can clean the brush roll and replace the brush roll, and they offer replacements and make it available, that is my biggest issue. you know? Because if you can't do that and just, you know, what's really sad is sometimes the vacuum itself is going to have a lot of life left in it, but the brush roll's shot. If you can't get the brush roll, you got to replace the whole unit, even though it's still good. It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. So, but yeah, so some of these, I will say that Hoover really gives you some decent options. Some of their stuff I don't like, but like this thing, I don't think that is worth it. I think I just think it's quirky. It's just my opinion. And then cordless vacuums in general. Cordless, I think, are just for quick cleanups. I mean, if you're really trying to clean an entire house, you need one with a cord and a strong motor. It's just, there's just no getting away from it. There's no getting away from that cord. It's just not going to happen. Now, parts. Let's look at parts here. So you got bags. You can buy generic stuff. I mean, I don't even use genuine bags in my 10-year-old Hoover because, I mean, it's an older machine. I bought it used really cheap. I'm not real worried about it. You know, I do use HEPA bags, but I don't freak out about it too much. So let's see, filters. Yeah, I think filters need to be available. That's one thing that I will say, because I don't care if it's washable or not. You can only wash a filter so much, and then it has to be changed eventually. If you want your machine to last a really long time, you're gonna have to change that filter. So let's see here. Yeah, there's an exhaust filter. So parts are very reasonable. Dyson parts and Shark parts can get expensive. Even from other vendors, that's just, they can get pretty expensive, and especially Dyson parts, holy cow. I mean, they want $30 for a filter, $65 for a hose, you know, what, I don't know, but it's crazy. So, bags, yeah. I'm trying to find brush rollers. Because, see, that's the biggest thing, is brush rollers are just a wear and tear item. I mean, they just do. There's just no way around it. I mean, especially if you have mostly carpeting, I mean, that's the whole reason for a brush roll. And honestly, I think these microfiber things, the way I see it, I think it just gets nasty. I think you're better off with really soft nylon bristles, like super, super fine, like dust brush kind of bristles on a brush roll than you are with a microfiber thing, because those just get disgusting, beyond disgusting. So yeah, dusting brushes, filters. I mean, this is the whole thing that I think about now. Let me see what I can find. Yeah, I don't know. Parts. So, let's see. Brush roll. Okay, let's see. So that's the biggest thing. Now, yes, you can get these. Now, are these the best brush rolls? No, absolutely not. I think you can get way better than that. But at least they offer brush rolls. Shark does not. Dyson does not. They want you to replace the whole head. Now, some of these can be a little expensive, but again, the more basic you go, the cheaper it's going to be, and the more cost effective it's just going to be. So, yeah. Hoover Elite. So, platinum bagged. Yeah, so brush rolls are available here. And that's the whole thing that I want to make. That's the whole point I want to make. Is just make sure that you can get these parts that will wear out. Now, here are the things that I will say with any vacuum you buy, regardless of brand, regardless of type. Can you get filters for it? Can you get belts for it? Can you get brush rolls for it? Those three things alone should answer yes when you're looking into a vacuum cleaner. If you cannot find any of those, then I would not recommend looking into it. That's just the way I see it. Just keep it simple. Like I said, I'm not against, new designs, but if a design is gonna be so bad to where you can't even fix the darn thing or keep it running, then what's the point of even owning it? I mean, it's just the way I see it. Now, if you want to buy something that's disposable and you don't plan on fixing it, then that's fine. But for the rest of us, we're trying to look at, just long term. How long is this going to last? Because, lifespan is important. I mean, I think you should at least get 10 to 15 years out of a decent vacuum. At the very least. 5 years is unacceptable. It just is, in my opinion. But, but like I said, You know, whatever you want, you do. So anyway, I just wanted to show you a couple of those things. I know this was a long video, but there's so many good options out there. Like I said, I'm not against all modern machines. I really am not. I'm just against designs that are overly complicated and harder to fix. That's just the way I am. So, please like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more.